Hello everybody, welcome to practice. It's Emma here. Thank you for joining me. We're going to have a short class today to focus in on our hips, some flexion and extension at the hip joint. I'm currently sitting in hero pose and I've got my hips elevated on a single flat block. So you might want to join me in hero, or if hero doesn't feel good for your knees or for your ankles, please feel free to sit in cross legs or with your legs out in front of you. You can sit on as many blocks as you like for hero, and you can bring your hands to your knees. You could interlace your fingers, drop them into your lap. Maybe close down the eyes and allow the body just to be exactly as it is for about 5 or 6 good breaths. Now, allow your eyes to open. With a soft focus, come back to the light. Let's do a little lateral flexion from side to side. I've got some blocks here. Inhale, reach up and over. Change to the other side. So just a nice, gentle movement to wake up your side body. So 3 more. And then 1 more to each side. Good. Come back to the center, roll the shoulders. Okay, we're going to come off the feet and the ankles now. So get rid of any props that you might have nearby. And oh, actually, no, we're not going to come off the feet and ankles. I just remembered what's next. We're going to do fire toes pose, the exact opposite of coming off them. So, from a kneeling foundation, bring your heels in now. We're going to curl the toes under. So you bring your weight forward, curl the toes under, and then sit your hips back onto your heels. Shoulders over hips, over heels, over toes. So quite a high level of intensity working down the back line of the body. Stay with it. Now, of course, if you don't like it because for whatever reason, maybe the bones in your toes would be a really good reason not to like it, feel free to take a kneeling position. Otherwise, we'll stay for about 3 more. Okay, to come out of the pose, bring the weight forward. And then you might just want to tap your feet on the mat. And then bring yourself into your foundation for your tabletop position. And let's move to cat and cow. So inhale, belly down, chest forward, tail up. And exhale to round your spine, tail under, pull up the belly, round between your shoulders. And then come back in. Take another cow stretch and another cat. And then keep going at your own pace of breath. So you don't need to go at any particular speed. Okay, so do 1 more of each. And then return to your neutral table. Okay, balancing table with a difference today. Let's step the right foot to the back of the mat, keep your shoulders where they are. And then lift up your heel to hip height, point your toes away. And maybe today we'll see if we can lift the toes higher than the hip line. And you might wish to reach your left arm forward. Now keep your navel drawing up to your spine. Maybe lift your thumb higher than your ear as well. Stay for another couple. And then on an exhale, hand and knee back to the mat. And let's take the hips back so that we can come off the wrists. Have a little wriggle. And then get ready to do that on the other side. So, tabletop, left foot back, shoulders over wrists. Lift the left heel, point your toes away, and then maybe start to go into a hip extension, taking the foot above the hip line. And right arm can reach forward. And maybe pulling the right arm up as well. Another inhale. And exhale, hand and knees back to the mat. Let's come off the wrists again. Come to your elbows or go into child's pose and have a bit of movement. Okay, let's come up to table. So we're going to do a lunge now. Let's bring the right foot forward. Now, I'm hopeless with prop management, but if you want to use blocks under your hands for this, I should have said that earlier, please grab them. And then today, I want you to take your back knee further along the mat. So we haven't, if you're doing these videos in sequence, we haven't done this version of lunge for some time. When you've taken your left knee as far back as it will go, untuck your foot so the top of your foot's on the mat. And then maybe bring your right hand onto your right thigh, and then maybe come up as well. Okay, so it should feel reasonably intense in your back hip. You might want to tuck the hips under a little, and then you'll feel more at the left hip. Either stay with your hand on your hip, or maybe take your hands to your heart center, or maybe reach your arm overhead. And take 5 deep breaths now. Lovely. One more breath in. As you exhale, bring your left hand to the mat, and inhale, reach your right hand up for a twist. Keep your spine long, maybe look up at your right hand, and maybe you want to curl your back toes and lift your knee. Staying low in the hips, and rotating the chest, and optionally the gaze. Okay, one more inhale. Let's exhale the right hand down, drop the knee. Let's reverse the hips back and straighten into the right leg for a half split. Toes pointing up, blocks under the hands if you like, and then maybe fold down towards your right leg. Lovely. Walk the hands forward, bend back into the right knee, and then carefully take the right knee back and come back to your symmetrical starting point. Okay, all 3 of those poses on the other side, left foot forward. Okay, slide your right heel down the mat as far as it feels comfortable to go. Untuck the toes. Left hand to left thigh. Inhale to come up. So maybe you can tune in to any difference between the right hip and the left. Allow a little posterior tilt to the pelvis. Maybe add in a prayer at the heart center, or inhale, reach your arms up in the air. And we'll take 3 more breaths. On your next exhale, bring your right hand to the mat And then inhale, find a twist. Reaching up, maybe allowing your gaze to follow. Either stay in your low lunge or curl your toes. Lift your right knee. One more inhale. And exhale, let's take the right knee down. Walk the hips back and the hands as well, straightening the left leg. Inhale. And exhale, hinge over the left leg. Good. Okay, let's walk the hands back and carefully take the left knee back, center of the mat, and let's come to downward facing dog. Curl your toes under, push up and back, spread out your fingers, push your shoulders away from your wrists and your hips away from your shoulders. Bend your knees as much as you like. Take your gaze back. Let's stay for about another 4 breaths. It's our only downward facing dog in this practice. Okay, we're going to jump to a seat, or step through to a seat, and come down onto our backs. So come down. And be in constructive rest for a moment with the knees pointing up, the feet firmly down on the mat, arms down as well. So just adjust to being on your back for a moment. And then bring your right knee to your chest and hug it in. We may as well rotate the ankle while we're here. Let's go 5 times in each direction. Change. Maybe also slide your left leg along the mat, toes pointing up, heel away from the crown of the head. Allow your right knee to come closer to the chest if that's available. Keep your shoulders relaxed. Okay, let's bring the left knee in, both knees to the chest. Drop the right foot down and hug the left knee in. Rotate your left ankle, going 5 times in the first direction. And then change, go the other way. Good. Hug the knee. Optionally straighten your right leg. Heel away, toes up. Give your knee a good squeeze in. And then relax that grip. Bring the right knee in. Have a little gentle squeeze in, maybe rock on the hips, a little circle or 2. And then feet back to the mat. Bridge pose. Walk the heels in so they're under the knees. Arms at the sides of the body. Push down into the backs of the arms, push down into the feet. Inhale, lift the hips up into the air. And we'll stay for 5. 3 more. Keep lifting through the front of your hips. 2 and 1. Come down on an exhalation. And be still for a moment. And then let's go into a windscreen wiper pattern. Knees over to one side, then the other. And we'll just do 3. in each direction. So one more time each way. And then come back to the center. All right, from here we're going to bring ourselves up and over again. So we're coming back to our kneeling position. You may want to grab some blocks to go under your hands. I think I will bring these blocks forward just to show. Okay, so back to our table, and we're going to take the right foot outside the right hand. So a lizard setup for this lunge. Hug your right knee close in to your right shoulder. And then, as we did before, take your back foot further along the mat. And when you've gone as far as you can with that back foot, untuck and have the top of the foot flat on the mat. So at this point, if you want, you can bring your blocks into play, have them underneath your shoulders to rest your hands and raise the floor. So if that feels good, if that feels better, please feel free to add in the bricks. If you're feeling reasonably comfortable there and you want to do something different, you could bring your left forearm down onto the mat like in Sphinx, and you might want to bring the right forearm down as well. And then a final option, it doesn't particularly make it any harder, it's just different, is to curl the back toes and lift the back knee. But if you're going to do that, be really intentional with the pose and don't allow a drooping in the back knee. Keep your back leg engaged and strong. So wherever you are now, let's stay for another 5 breaths. And then if your leg is lifted, drop the back leg down, and if you're on your forearms, come back to straight arms. Okay, final part of this little sequence. I'm going to turn the right foot onto an angle, 45 degrees, and you can walk your foot off the mat if you like. Then if there's any final movement to go a bit further back with the left knee, take it. Then we're going to bend the left knee. So it's quite important to bend the knee so that you're resting on the space above the knee, not on the knee itself. Then sweep around with your right hand and grab your foot if it's available. If not, just send your hand in the direction of your foot. Maybe draw your heel in towards your bottom. You could take your gaze back, open your shoulder a little. Have another few good breaths. And then release that carefully. Walk your right foot back in and take your right knee back, and allow yourself a little movement. That was a terrible scrape as I took my heel back. I used to have a teacher who used to go bananas when we scraped our heels. I always think about her. She wouldn't be impressed. All right, all of that on the other side. So let's take the left foot to the outside of the left hand and hug the knee to the shoulder. So remember, blocks if you want them, they are there for you. And then once again, we're going as far back as we can with the right knee, untucking the toes. So a nice long lizard lunge. Okay, another further option is on this side, the first forearm to come down will be the right, maybe the left comes down also. And then last but no means least, final option is to curl the back toes, lift the right knee into the air. An option, of course. So wherever you are, stay now for 5 more. If your knee is up at the back, allow it to come down. And if you're on your forearms, straighten your arms, come back to your palms. Okay, turn your left toes out 45 degrees. Find any further movement down the back with your right knee. Bend your right knee again, trying to find a cushion above the knee so the weight's not directly on the joint. Sweep around with your left hand to find your right foot. Where is it? There it is. And optionally bring your heel to your bum. Maybe gaze over your left shoulder. Remember, if your foot and your hand have not connected, no problem. Send them towards each other or stay in your lizard. Okay, release that foot, super careful. Bring yourself back to all fours. Have a little movement backwards and forwards. Good. A bit more of that. Maybe take a little rotation around the wrists, around the hips. Go both directions if you're doing that. Good. And then bring yourself into a comfortable seat. Have your legs either crossed away from you or any other position that you like. And we'll take a simple twist. Right hand behind, left hand to right knee, breathe in. And gentle rotation as you breathe out. And then let's take it over to the other side. Left hand behind, long spine. Rotation. Come back to face forward as we began. Let's flex over to each side. Good. Let's do one more on each side. Come back to face forward, roll the shoulders, and then you might want to sit with your eyes closed for a few minutes, or you might have time to recline down onto your back into constructive rest or shavasana and take a longer rest. I hope that's woken up your hips this morning, and it's a good way to start a longer practice that's focused on either hips or perhaps even back bending. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you soon on the next video.